guys, today we're going to be talking about a huge announcement made in Grand Theft Auto 6. We're going to be reacting to insider Micheal Pachter making a pretty big leak about Grand Theft Auto 6. We're going to watch that video, and I'm just going to offer my input about what he's saying Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be like. So, no further ado, we're just going to jump right into it.
I love that, Rockstar tweets out, we can confirm GTA 6 in development. GTA 6 has been in development since 2014. They can confirm. Now, they may not have written code because they're still working on the story, the broad brush like art and trying to figure out where they're going to hold it and all that. But by 2015, they were writing code.
This really shouldn't be too surprising to people who know a little bit about game development. We hear developers say this all the time, that as soon as we finished X project, that's when we started work on the very next one. So it's not that surprising that they started working on it in 2014. I'm sure they did. I'm sure that they were already talking about it before Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. So that's not really like a big surprise.
So anybody who is so naive as to think Rockstar, with its 2,000 employees, are sitting on their butts, twiddling their thumbs, no, they're not. These guys are working their asses off to create amazing content. But
I do believe that's true. I have no doubt that the developers at Rockstar are working their butts off to make amazing content. Not for story mode, not for like DLCs. I'm not trying to say that's not a cap on Grand Theft Auto 5 or Red Dead Redemption 2 or anything like that. I just mean, they could have come up with single-player DLC for those, but they didn't because they were, we assume, and they said early on that they were all tied up with Grand Theft Auto Online. So, it shouldn't have been super surprising that, we didn't really know what they were going to be doing, because who knew how long they planned to ride that train. It was hard to know what they were working on. It was pretty quiet. So I don't think anyone thought they weren't doing anything, but it did make me wonder how quickly progress was being made on Grand Theft Auto and other games and things like that.
But GTA is going to take 10 years or more.
Yeah, it will definitely take 10 years to make Grand Theft Auto. And if they started in 2014, that puts the release window between 2024 and 2025, which, if you saw my other video talking about the announcement of Grand Theft Auto 6 about a month and a half ago now-ish, I said that exact same thing, that we'd be looking at 2024 or 2025 for a Grand Theft Auto 6 release date.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, but that's really the hard truth of it, is I think we're still a little ways away from anything big.
Are we there yet?
No.
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 Are we there yet?
You little...
And the reason is, my understanding is, it is a mashup of Vice City, San Andreas, Liberty City, so GTA 3, and...
That really puzzled me. He shows pictures of the original trilogy. He doesn't show, Los Santos from Grand Theft Auto 5. He doesn't show Liberty City from Grand Theft Auto 4, and he even specifies Grand Theft Auto 3. Now, why would that be the case? Why would they go back to the old cities when they've spent so much time developing these new cities? Right? Why would they use old Liberty City and not new Liberty City? Why would they use old San Andreas and not expand onto Los Santos and what they've already created there? That doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense to me, that it would be that. I don't know if he just mixed up his words there, or maybe he's not really a big gamer. I don't know much about Micheal Pachter, so maybe he's not super duper familiar with the Grand Theft Auto series, but it seemed strange to me that he would specify Grand Theft Auto 3 and that specific trilogy of games to be what Rockstar would be modeling that off of. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But the idea of them wanting to string all of the cities together, and that does make a lot of sense to me. And I was even working on a video that was talking about this, that I was just going to be finishing up editing today and release on Friday, that would have talked about exactly that that's what I believe Project America's was going to be, that was going to be a way of trying to get all of the existing Grand Theft Auto cities connected in one map somehow, probably for online, but also maybe for story mode too. That sounded like a really cool idea to me. And it seemed to me that would be probable, that they would be doing that. You know, then Micheal Pachter came along and threw a whole wrench in the works, and now we're responding to what Micheal Pachter says. But I do think that part sounds pretty legit. That sounds like what I've been thinking Project America's was going to be for some time.
It is a mashup of Vice City, San Andreas, Liberty City, so GTA 3, and Europe. And so London for sure. And you're going to be able to go anywhere on those continents, European continent, US, and you're going to have missions that take you all those places.
This part I also find suspicious. It's hard for me to imagine Grand Theft Auto going outside of the United States in a major way. This could be like maybe a Guarma kind of situation where we're just going to part of Europe, but not really like located in Europe. The idea that it would be all three cities and possibly even all of San Andreas, that's a huge project all on its own. And then to add Europe in there, like a whole section of Europe, not just like England or Germany or the Netherlands or something, like all of Europe, like that feels like a lot. And if it's something Rockstar wants to do, I think that's a little further down the road than Grand Theft Auto 6. I could be wrong. Rockstar has been an ambitious company for a long time, so maybe that is what they're trying to do. But that part of it, I feel a little hesitant to go, yeah, that's definitely happening. We're also going to Europe. That would really surprise me, especially given that if they wanted to do drug running, that I think Mexico, South America, other countries would have been more appealing to fans and would have made more sense for that storyline. I could, maybe you feel differently. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below if you think that, it would be better to go to Europe as a drug smuggling thing as opposed to like South America or something, or if that's what you think it is. Do you think we're going to go to Europe too, or do you think that that's hyperbole? All right, let's keep watching.
It'll probably be it'll probably be a 400 or 500 hour game by the time they get it out.
400 or 500 hours.
Don't be ridiculous. I am ridiculous.
I don't know what he's basing that off of. I don't know where he got that number. That just sounds like, I don't know. To me, it sounds a little bit like he just grabbed a number out of the air that sounded impressive, and he thought, yeah, 400 or 500. And like I said, I don't know a lot about this guy other than he's an insider or some kind of business insider. But so I don't know how much he really knows about games and gaming as much as he knows about business and business moves, which are not necessarily the same thing. 400, 500 hours. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 is like a 60 or 70 hour campaign or something like that. And that's a long campaign and I love it, but it's not like that's considered short in the gaming world. So to suggest that we'd be playing for 400 or 500 hours, I just don't know where he's getting that number. Does he mean that, like, if you did everything in the main story and, completed every objective online, that it would take 400 or 500 hours? That might be true. That sounds more accurate. But the way that most people would interpret that is that that's how long it would take to get through the whole meat of the story, and a lot of the side stuff would be 400 or 500 hours. And it's ridiculous, kind of, to even suggest that would be the case.
That's what they are now. That's what they've turned into. And I get it, because they're like, we're going to charge you $60 and then we're going to give you an online experience, and you're going to have to carry drugs from London to LA. And you're going to have to go through the port in Miami. They're going to do all this really cool stuff.
And see, here's the thing about how he's talking too that really bugs me. He's not talking about Vice City. He calls it Miami. He's not talking about Los Santos. He calls it LA. But London is London in the GTA universe. So that's another reason why I feel skeptical, is every city we've actually been in is a fictionalized version of a real place. But London is London. It's not fictionalized. It is what it is. And so it would be weird to be like, yeah, you're in Vice City and then Liberty City and then Los Santos and then London. I mean, it doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit with what's come before, right? It just doesn't work for me that would be the case. I mean, who knows? Rockstar has a way of surprising people, but that just doesn't bump to me somehow. It also says to me this guy maybe isn't the most knowledgeable about video games and how video games work, and who even knows what this guy's basing it on. So if I haven't said it before, I'm going to say it again now, or I'm going to at least say it now. Grain of salt. Take a salt lick and cover your tongue in salt while hearing this.
Take a salt tablet.
So even if you're super excited, remember, this is not official stuff from Rockstar. This is a guy who says he knows something that most people don't. Whatever you're hearing right now isn't necessarily what's going to happen. In fact, more likely than not, a lot of the stuff we're hearing isn't going to go down. And Rockstar has a habit of doing things we don't expect and making them great. So I always kind of come from the perspective of whatever you think Rockstar is going to do, they're going to do the opposite of that, and they're going to blow you away with it. So if you want more Grand Theft Auto and gaming related videos, you can go ahead and click one of the links here. If you liked the video, go ahead and smash that like button. It really helps the channel out, especially early on like this. And hit subscribe so you can get more 2-bit opinions from me, and ring the bell so you'll always know when you can get my 2 cents. I appreciate you watching. Peace.